Hey everyone, this is Professor Lucien, and this is the review video, and I also want to give you some insights, kind of a mid-semester breakdown. As you can see on the screen here, each week, when I do my grading on Mondays, I also pull other Canvas performance data, and I like to compare my undergrads to my grads because we've got a slash class. And yeah, just to kind of give you guys an idea of, when you clump it all together, the grad students tend to perform better. They've got work experience, they better with time scheduling, things like that. So you can see as a comparison here, the average grade after week 5 for the undergrads was about 87%, so we're just under, so it's a B. The median is a 91.9, which is an A minus. For the grads, the average is an A, median's an A, the max is high. The min is just, the min is actually just above the average. We have a student this semester who's been blowing it off, and I submitted them to get help from the university. Hopefully they can pull it together. The other thing is that this course has been somewhat easy so far. We covered the easy stuff. This week we have the executive summary. That's a little more sophisticated, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more to help you out. Next week is the midterm exam, which is a quiz, basically just a longer quiz. And then we begin the semester project, which is the kind of the defining effort in this course. Too often, students just blow it off or think they can get it all done at once, but there are weekly deadlines. And I will be creating weekly updated videos for the data set, which I'm already very familiar with. If you feel like this course has been super hard or you're not finding time for it, I'm concerned because you're going to have to start putting in probably 8 to 10 hours a week after the next week. So just be aware, try to set time aside, and I'll give you other updates as we get closer. So as far as time is concerned, the grads are spending more time on average, though the median is close. We do have one that has a higher weekly average, but the low, it's a little concerning, just an hour a week. It's definitely not enough. That's on average, by the way, averaged over 5 weeks. The number of views is the number of things you look at. I track that too. The grads are much higher along the base. So, in addition to the advanced learning styles and time management that grads have, they're also putting in more time and looking at more stuff. So undergrads, that's to help you out. That's a statistic I tend to trend, and it's fairly predictive. From quiz perspective, it's pretty close. Looks like the median is a little bit higher, which is interesting. But all things considered, it's fairly even. That's an interesting thing, though the median is higher here. So it sounds like the undergrads are a little bit more comfortable with the quiz each week. For the assignments, the grads are doing better. We've got someone who's kind of slacking here. So put more time into that. And the memo assignment, so that's our initial creative assignment. So the grads did do better. The median was the same. The max is the same. The min, there's someone who didn't do as well. This doesn't include a 0. Someone hasn't turned it in yet. So this would come down considerably because of that. But overall, not too bad. I did not grade it as tough as I should have. And I'll talk about what my expectations are for the next assignment. So here's this week. I know there's a lot here, but there are basically 3 things, and you guys have been really good at asking me questions. First of all, the binder assignment this week is different. It's easy. All you have to do is review and summarize the videos, this paper, and provide your reflection. Some of you haven't been doing that. I don't understand. I try to put comments when there are things that are missing. Other than that, some of you are doing an amazing job. It's really easy. It's like, wow, they're really putting it all together. Some of you are doing the absolute minimum, and I've been giving 9s out of 10s for that. I'm thinking about lowering that. So if you've been getting 9s and now you start getting 8.5s, your effort is not as high as your classmates. The other ones seem to be putting more time and effort into it. You're just trying to, put out 2 sentences, the minimum. With the quizzes, you're going to need to be able to do calculations. This is different, and I have it listed on here. This is a different type of quiz. So I provided 3 study sheets. This should be everything you need to know in order to complete the quiz. And then if when you get into the quiz, for some reason, you can't see the data tables I provided them right here, so you can have them open. I don't think Lockdown Browser is activated for this. And also there is a link that you need to open up to look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So if you haven't looked at it yet, I recommend you get in there, start playing around, because you're going to need it. You have to do some comparison and look some things up. So you're going to have that open. You can have these open to help you. Again, the tables are right here. So there should be no issue providing all that stuff. So give yourself more time. I think I gave you more time to complete it as well, but still, I think it's 30 minutes to complete 10 questions. And the math is not that hard. I was able to basically do it in a scratch piece of paper. It's not heavy. You can use a calculator, of course, but it's fairly simple. So the big thing, the writing assignment. This course is designed to have you think about how can you persuade management to agree with, approve, provide resources to your recommendations. The toughest part of being a safety manager is getting management to fund the things you need to do or to demonstrate support for them. So therefore, one of our, in addition to going out and engaging with workers and doing assessments to understand what the issues are and being diligent with coming up with solutions or mitigation strategies for hazards and risks, is we have to be able to educate and persuade management. So that's what this is. So for this project, I already did the analysis for you, but you can look at it. I already wrote the technical report for you using 5 years of OSHA log data. Now, please, when you write this up and you provide the summary, don't say a 5-year study of OSHA log data, because that means you did it over 5 years. You did a data study. You did a study of OSHA log data spanning 5, the data set itself. Make sure you specify that. It sometimes is the first problem with how you guys write this up. I used to provide an example of an executive summary, but too many students just copied it. And I know some of you are like, well, you should deduct them for it. Well, I want to see how creative you can be. So under 2 pages, I'm going to say that again, under 2 pages. And you need to use data tables and figures from the report, which is a PDF. You can copy and paste it in. That's no problem. To demonstrate what the issues are. If I get an executive summary and it's just all writing and you're just basically explaining things in first person, or you're just taking actual language from the report, it's going to be a failing submission. I want it to be in your words, explain what was done, what was found, what it means, and what management should do. And that's laid out in the assignments and the videos. Just want to reiterate that. Your job is to take what was done, describe it using tables and figures. What were the main findings in order to persuade management to invest in the safety program? It's as simple as that. And again, that's the main theme here, is you're not just saying, oh, this was done, this was found. But what does it mean? I also want you to reference some of the readings we've had in this class. In the memo, I let some things go. Some of you are just Googling a term and bringing in crap, and it doesn't really mean anything. I assign these readings because they're important. They've established my understanding, what I refer to when I do this type of work. Use that. Now, for the grad students who have had me for 701 or 783, and you want to just kind of venture off the range a little bit, and find some things that are peer-reviewed, good stuff, cool, you can do that. But for the undergrads, you should only be citing stuff that we are reading in this class. And here's the thing, too. A lot of you are like, yeah, of course I'm going to do this. It's probably the students who aren't even going to watch this or put much thought in this project that are going to do these things. So do not write in first person. You're summarizing the findings of the technical report, which you should be reviewing for your planning document. This is what was done. This is why it was done. This is what was found. This is what it means. recommend, this is what management needs to do. So there should be a definitive recommendation of what management needs to do and why. And that's where references. So in the technical report, I didn't reference any papers or cite anything on purpose because I want you guys to do that. So persuade management, but use some of the papers we've read in this class to support that. And I can tell, basically who's reading the papers and who's not. And I've been grading very easy so far this semester. And I feel like I'm not really providing the adequate admiration for the students who are reading it, because I can tell who you are. If you receive my grade book, it's all color coded on the students who I think are doing an amazing job and those that I'm concerned about. So that's what this paper is. All this stuff are resources you can use to get it done. I did provide a sample planning document. I don't expect yours to look like mine. I just wanted to give you something. I just want you to think about what is the message I want management to take away from this. Otherwise, it's just like throwing Jello at a wall and seeing what sticks. A lot of it does stick, by the way, if anybody is interested. So read this report, break it down. Use the planning document. It's like, what I want to explain to management, which tables or figures do I want to use. You really only have enough space to use 2 for an executive summary. And be direct, be specific. Don't start pontificating about, successful safety programs, blah, 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 unless it's part of your, argument and you're referencing something. So that's the job. And it is difficult to narrow a lot of work into just 2 pages, but honestly, the executive summary is usually all they read. And so, barring that they're not going to read anything in the actual technical report, just tell them what they need to know. Be direct. This is going too long. So what I'd like to do is just share with you something I just put together yesterday. I was supposed to be presenting it today, but I got to be in lecture, so I submitted it. So here's my actual metrics and KPIs, key performance indicators, that I use at the plant, and we're supposed to report these on a monthly and a year to date. So these are my September numbers, these are my August numbers, and then my year to date, and then last year's numbers, and then my targets. So I and I talked about this at the beginning of the semester in my intro video, that I think tracking safety observations and concerns and the actions that I'm taking to correct things is a better, more leading metric than training and JHAs and stuff like that. And let's see if I'm right. So I've been exceeding my target pretty regularly for things I've been collecting. A lot of it's been repeated stuff, and I haven't narrowed that out. I'm just listing what I get. This last month, though, my corrections were below my target because I was only on site 9 times all of September, and not all of them were full days for sure. So I wasn't around as much. I was able to get some training done, which was good. I'm still behind on that. But I also been comparing hours between my plant and the other plant, and I'm allowing more production time. And so that's been favored at this point because we're a little bit behind. Now, if we go to the age-old OSHA records, didn't have any recordables this month or last, or the September or the month before. Obviously no darts. I had 5 first aids in September, 10 the prior month. I am above my target, but at this point, I wanted, my initial goal was to try to get more people to report what's going on. Last year they had 53, but then it really trailed off in between the previous safety manager leaving and me coming on. And so I wanted to find out what's really going on. So getting reports of first aid, I think, is an initial positive thing, that workers are at least reporting things. The ratio of safety observations to DART cases, I was shooting for a 20-to-1, which I think is very bold. But like this month it was 41-0. Last month it was 41-0. I am way above that. So, and here's where they were last year. So I'm doing pretty well there. My ratio of first aid cases to DART cases, this is just a measure of people reporting things. We were 5-0 this past month, the month before, 10-0. I wanted a 10-to-1 ratio, and you guys can compare that to the minor to major of either Heinrich or Bird. So we are there. Last year, they were not. Then, of course, I did my total case incidence rate and my DART incidence rate for the month. You shouldn't do it for a month. It's an annual thing, but they wanted it, so I'm doing it. Zeros and zeros. I want to be below 9 because they were at 11 last year. I want to be below 6 for my DART. They were 7.5. Currently, year to date, we are at 4.8 and 2.4. Did get a recordable only, no lost time, restricted time due to a laceration. They went and got some stitches, but doctor didn't have any restrictions or anything. That will increase my total case incidence rate a little bit. I mean, I guess quite a bit, because one will do that. So that'll come up a little bit. We'll see what it'll be at the end of October. But I mean, it's just 2 months left. So after this month, so 2.5 months. So hopefully we can still meet these very bold. This is 20% year-over-year reduction. That's a bold target for real. Here are my modified reports. See, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first aids. I got some report only, some near misses, some property damage, but nothing recordable. So what I have here is, what it was, the shift that occurred, the body part involved, the type of work they were doing, and then the summary and response. And I provide this updated table to my boss every Monday so she can report it to corporate. Let them know I'm doing things. These are lagging indicators that are asked for by the operations manager. Yeah, the VP of operations. And I'm just trying to show how invaluable these are. Invaluable, unvaluable, so they're not valuable. So here's the 2 years prior to me. This is 2021, 2022. Here's where the end of year total case incidence rate. These are the monthly numbers. Oh, this is the running monthly numbers. Yeah, monthly year to date. So as you can see, we had a couple months with 3s, and then they've been 0s, and they come down very slow. The DART, same thing. Here was the prior years. Here's our running annual totals. Here's the severity rate, which I think is the number of, this is days away from work incidence rate. You can see we're very low. So what I'm trying to explain is these OSHA metrics, sure, people rely on them, but they're not going to help me improve the safety program. They tend to be just a lagging. Are the things that I'm doing working? Apparently, yes. That's what this basically says. But that's as far as I can say. Here's my OSHA recordables all the way through 2023, so you can compare. Here's a graph that shows them. What's great is my indicator. My no lost time to lost time ratio, or other recordable to DART, is 1-to-1 right now, which is not great, but it's at least the baseline. And it'll be a little bit better. It'll be 4-to-3 come the end of the month, unless something else happens. We'll see. These days, it's interesting. They're kind of random. Yeah, I might have to update those. So here's my reportable and recorded stuff. I got my OSHA recordables over here, just like in the last one. I broke it down by cause. As you can see, when you don't have many, there isn't much to go off of. Basically, struck by, overexertion, and a cut. So we'll have one more cut in October so far. That's what it was, laceration. So does this help? I don't see the value in it, to be honest with you. But if we look at a comparison of the OSHA recordables to the reports I have, you can see it's an over 10-to-1 ratio here. So this is what I'm using to guide corrective actions. And you can see here what my major causes are, and this is the Pareto ratio, and where they're occurring. As far as the non-OSHA recordable stuff, I broke it down further. You can see the first aid, report only, property damage, near miss. So you can see this is, you got the tip of the iceberg, which is the OSHA recordable stuff. This is the other. The shifts in which things are occurring. We're getting a lot more reportings on first shift. First shift workers tend to be a little bit more active, though I'm really impressed with second shift. They tend to be, based on my perception survey, they're angrier. Is that a proper term? And so, but it's good that they're reporting things. I got some really good active safety people there. As far as where they're occurring, tends to be the MAC lines for sure, but then you see that laminator, MAC line and MACs are the same thing. It's just the recording issue. So it's a little bit higher than it looks. We got a few in, our metals areas too. And as far as what are the cause, contact with by, it's interesting. but it's something I am following up on. Overexertion is always there. Struck by body reaction. I thought cut, puncture, scrape would be higher because we seem to have quite a few of those, but these are easier not to report because it's just some people just put on a Band-Aid and they don't report it, but I'm trying to change that. Here is probably the most defining of my changes. So previously, so in 2022 through February of 23, they were using a different tracking and reporting system, and these are their reports. These are what was corrected. I kicked it in gear and increased the reporting and increased the corrections, and I think, for me anyway, that is what has led to the lower OSHA recordables. And getting things actually fixed. The reason I wasn't able to meet the goals here is because I was only in 9 days. August was kind of the same thing. I was starting to think about school again. But in the months of May, June, July, I was in there a lot more. And so when I'm there more, I can do more. As far as my priorities, so plant-wide, I'm attempting to update and re-release the safety violation discipline plan. We have some people who are walking around with their cell phones on or not wearing the proper PPE, and reminders haven't worked. And so we need to let them know that keep this up, and we're going to start the disciplinary action. Now, again, that goes against maybe what I've taught you as far as blame, but there needs to be some form of, support, a carrot and a stick. You need them both. Not just the carrot. Do you guys understand that? I hope you understand that. We've had some issues with sort of lackluster tracking of training for proper use of forklifts and pallet jacks. I have a lot of records all over the place. I need to collate them, get them all together. I'm going to be doing some personal noise exposure sampling. They haven't done it for a couple of years. I'm going to follow up with that. I don't know if they're going to break the 85 threshold. We'll see. I don't think they'll break the 90, though. And I got to put together all of my notes and give them plans for what they can do next summer when I'm not around. I then broke it down by my media and metals. So these are my two main production areas. And you can see I'm going to do some air sampling. I'm actually just waiting to hear back from MSC. We're going to do a wall-to-wall glove and sleeve assessment because we've had so many cut, puncture, scrapes. I thought there were more on the list. Maybe I'm not coding them right, but it seems like we've had too many. And so I'm going to reassess that. I need a higher cut resistance, I think. We have some issues with manual material handling of big rolls, and so I need to, this is a production thing, so I need to work on that. Organization and storage is an issue everywhere. And I really want to redesign this PVC glue area. It's really my only vapor exposure. So I'm going to do VOC testing and redesign that. I've been doing it since January. I just need to put in the orders. And then maintenance, I'm updating their Locotego and electrical training. It's already gone through one test level. I need to now specify a few things. We do need a preventative maintenance plan for our lift equipment and carts. And what I mean by that is the wheels and casters need to be oiled and cleared of debris so that they move easier. Workers have been complaining about that. No injuries yet or reports of injury. And then I also need a plan for cleaning out the fans and exhaust. They tend to get clogged. And again, that's going to go with my particulate area sampling too. And we've already met with some contractors to come in and upgrade some of the systems. That's it. So that's all I have for this week. Let me know if you have any questions. But again, the focus is we've got a little bit of a different quiz. You got to do some analysis here. It's beginning. And the executive summary, what you're doing is you're summarizing the findings from the technical report, which was a data study of OSHA log data. Explain what the findings mean, referencing some of the things you've had to read for this class, persuade management to invest using both the data and some of the things we've read in this class. Reach out if you got any questions.